I was doing commercial voiceover classes because that is the thing that will get you in the door when it comes to agents. They won't really look at you unless you have a commercial reel.
Today, I'm getting behind the mic with none other than Abby Trott, a voice actor whose work you have definitely heard. She has an amazing roster of characters which include Nezuko from Demon Slayer, Magic from Marvel Rivals,
I have mutant powers and a little demonic magic too.
and the English version of Lifelight in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Colors weave into a spire of flame. Distant sparks call to a past still unnamed.
We'll be talking about her journey into voice acting, the challenges of bringing her characters to life, and her advice for aspiring voice actors. So without further ado, let's jump into my interview with Abby Trott.
So Abby, I think the first question that I want to ask is what inspired you to get into voice acting?
I am a huge nerd. I love video games. I love cartoons, animation. I've loved them all my life. I love anime. I have been a huge anime fan since probably about the 6th grade. And I didn't really realize voiceover was a career. So I had just subsequently been doing theater, you know, as an actor. Performing was something that I kind of got addicted to. So once I realized that there was like a way to merge the two, like voiceover, voice acting is a thing, you can do it, I immediately decided that that's what I wanted to pursue.
You had previously mentioned that you were taken abroad over to Japan. And so that's quite an interesting opportunity for people who especially want to aspire into getting into anime, really. But how exactly did that come around?
Yeah, so that wasn't, that was a separate adventure. So my Japanese teacher suggested I apply to the JET program, which is a teaching exchange program that sends people from all over the world to all over Japan to teach English as assistant language teachers. So I applied to this program and miraculously got in. I applied, you know, I was like, oh, cool, I'll send that off, and didn't really think about it. And then, so I, of course, wanted to go to Japan as a person who had studied the culture and history and language, you know? So I went and I lived in Akita, Japan. And the original plan was to stay there for a year teaching English on the JET program. But I had so much fun that I stayed for 2 years teaching English on the JET program. And then I was really, you know, time's a ticking. So I was like, I want to be an actor still, right? Question mark. I think I do. So what do? I either move back to the United States, go to New York, go to LA, or I moved to Tokyo and try acting there. So that's what I did. I moved to Tokyo and I was there for about 4 years. So my main job was doing children's shows that are to teach kids English. They're little plays, little musicals, they incorporate songs. And I got to travel around Japan performing these songs and working as part of this company that had a lot of opportunities for performance. In addition to that, I was auditioning for other things like on-camera commercials, you know, TV shows. I started to do a little bit of voiceover doing textbook narrations for English textbooks and promos. And one of the things that really made me happy to do was to do some character voices for the shows that I was in, the children's shows. These were character voices for puppets that we used in the shows, and also the costumed characters that appeared on stage. They had voiceover associated with them. So I did some voice match auditions and I booked those roles. And I really enjoyed doing characters more than anything, is what clicked for me. And I also realized that I was kind of a little bit, like I had an ear for voice matches.
Yeah.
So that kind of made me think a lot about pursuing voiceover specifically. And when I realized that that's what I was thinking about doing and leaning into, I also thought that I should probably leave Japan because there are not as many English speaking opportunities and the types that I was looking for being video games and animation and anime dubbing. Most of the anime dubbing is done, you know, abroad. So I decided I had to leave Japan at that point. So that was the whole Japan adventure.
What was it like to go from performing in Japan to building your voice acting career in major hubs in the US?
It was terrifying. The fact that I was basically a working actor in Japan, being a working actor is such a hard thing to achieve. And I say working actor meaning like my main bread and butter was from acting jobs and or acting adjacent jobs. I was doing some things like telephone English, which was this job where we would sing to kids on the phone, also to teach them English, but it was singing, it was music. So to get paid money to do something like that, I was so grateful that I had those opportunities. And I was terrified that when I left Japan, I wouldn't, and I would have to find something else that I didn't like as much. So very scared to leave, but I knew that it was something that I had to do, that hit feeling deep within your heart where you're like, oh, I have to do this, even though it sucks. So I came back to the States and I moved to New York because I'm from Massachusetts. New York is the closest hub. And I started to take voice acting classes, and I was doing commercial voiceover classes because that is the thing that will get you in the door when it comes to agents. Like they won't really look at you unless you have a commercial reel to consider you for things like video games and animation.
Yeah.
So that was I don't know, times have changed, maybe if you have lots of followers, they'll consider you. But at the time, I was like, okay, I got to get that commercial reel, and started just learning about voiceover because I really didn't know much aside from the little bit that I had gotten to do. And I also, at the time, I found this contest online hosted by Bang Zoom. I've talked about this before. It's on YouTube. You can watch it.
Yep.
My videos are still up there.
I think I know which one you're talking about.
I applied for this contest, and it was a voice acting competition in this style of like American Idol. It was called Perfect Idol, and it was for anime voiceover. And I was so scared when I put those videos on YouTube that I thought like I was gonna be eviscerated by the internet. They were just gonna shut me down and tell me not to talk anymore. But you know what? Who cares what the internet says anyway? Is what I learned many years later. But at the time, very scary. And I entered, and this contest took months. So while this was happening, I had moved to New York, was doing classes. There were like 3 stages to the whole contest. And the finale, they flew the finalists to Los Angeles to do a final audition. And I ended up winning that contest, which it kind of gave me the first leap, actually, just putting the stuff online. That gave me enough confidence to keep fueling me because people didn't eviscerate me online, and I actually advanced to the 2nd stage of the contest and then the 3rd stage of the contest. So it gave me confidence that I wasn't insane. I wasn't like so off base and I had no business trying voiceover or something. I don't know. Your brain tells you things that are really mean sometimes, and mine is really mean to me. So that was a great confidence booster. And then winning the contest and getting to experience that, and just doing these things, like anything you can do like that, experiencing new things and being independent, I think can really boost your confidence if you're like me and you didn't have much to begin with. So those experiences kind of fueled me for a while. And I decided to move to LA because of that contest, because I made contacts out here, not just through the studio, but I had friends out here who were working in animation. And then I realized like, oh yeah, Cartoon Network at the time, and Nickelodeon, and all these other studios are out here, and PlayStation, and there's all kinds of opportunities. So this is maybe where I should be. So then I moved to LA to try to be even closer to the types of opportunities that I was looking for.
Yeah. Having the go-getter attitude, like pushing yourself to like actually get out there more. Is that really something that you feel was harder to grasp when you started off? Or was it just a natural decision to just basically say, you know what, I'm going to take this chance? Or did you like ever second guess like decisions after you did them?
I think the go-getter attitude is something that I've always had, but the confidence to back it up is something that I have not. So I've always been a hard worker, instilled in me by my parents. I think it for me came to a point where my self-esteem, my self-confidence, and that the desire to do the thing, the desire won. And that doesn't always happen. Sometimes that, question mark of should I, am I, that fear, really it's fear, that wins. And then you lose, because when fear wins, you don't do anything. I was at a point at that time in my life where I didn't really have second thoughts, because I was at a point where it was this or nothing. It was like this or something else. So I had to at least try and fail, and then I could move on. But until I failed, until I was done, then this was the thing that I was gonna do. So that's where I was. And I know it's really hard, especially when you're starting out in voiceover, because it's not like you just, for most people, it's not like you book a job and then you're working and you keep booking jobs. It's like you book a job, you're so excited, you think, oh, this is it.
Yep.
I made it, like my career. And then you don't book jobs for weeks, months, years for some people. Like it's a very fickle industry that can mess with your brain and mess with your self-esteem. And you just have to have it in your core and know that a lot of the time it's not, there are more factors than are you good enough. There are so many factors that go into casting, and all you can control is, are you on the top of your game? As in, are you taking care of your skill sets? Are you practicing the things that you're good at and the things that you need to practice? Are you ready for those opportunities when they come? If so, great. Great. And then maybe like networking and looking for those opportunities is the other thing you can control. And then once you have those opportunities coming at you and you have the skills ready to go, it's all about the things that are out of your control at that point.
You have gone on to create a career voicing iconic characters. The most iconic, many would argue, is Nezuko in Demon Slayer, one of the main characters in one of the most beloved animes in the world. How exactly did that opportunity present itself?
So that was an audition that I received from, drumroll, Bang Zoom, the company that hosted Perfect Idol. They're a studio, they dub so much anime. They're a recording studio, so they work on all kinds of other projects as well. They started to send me auditions. Once they knew that I was in LA and available, I started auditioning for them every once in a while, and booked a few jobs, here and there over the years. And this was just years later after this competition. I had an agent then, and I got this audition for Demon Slayer, and I knew what it was because I had seen Demon Slayer trending on Twitter like 2 weeks before. I hadn't been reading manga. Like, I used to read manga, and then I kind of took a break. You get busy and there's so much out there that you get so overwhelmed. So like, I hadn't even heard of the manga until I saw it online, and I saw that they were making it into an anime, and I was like, oh great, I'll watch the anime when it comes out. It looks really cool. And then I got the audition and I was like, oh, I know what this is, cool. And I just got an audition for Nezuko because I think they were probably casting the main four of the first season there. And I just auditioned like I would any other project. And you try not to think about it once you send it in. You send it and then you're like, and moving on. Because if you dwell, we fail more than we succeed in voiceovers. And you don't book most of the things you audition for. So
yeah, you find you're just sending out auditions, and you start to become unfazed when you don't hear back.
Yeah, and also hopefully you're having fun. Some auditions are hard, but like most auditions, I think, especially with character work, they're fun because you get to explore, and they don't give you a lot of specs sometimes, and that can be even more fun because then you get to make stuff up, which that's why we're here, right?
Yeah,
is to mess around and make stuff up.
Exactly. So obviously Nezuko, she relies heavily on non-verbal sounds and physical acting, except for in the beginning and also at the end of the finale of the Swordsmith Village arc. But in between those two arcs, how exactly did you find it voicing a character with very little traditional dialogue?
I think Nezuko, like, she's adorable, first of all, but she's also incredibly ferocious. And I think for most of the first arc, especially, we kind of see those two dualities. Like, we'll see cute chibi Nezuko in the box, and then she's fighting and she's like feral. But I remember one of the producers, when we were setting the voice, said that they don't want Nezuko to sound cute when she's fighting, because she's not. She's a beast. So it was interesting for me to try to infuse her with that kind of ferality. Is that a word? And also, you know, the chibi Nezuko moments are fun because she's adorable.
You've done characters like Nezuko, but you've also done characters like Momo from Dandadan. And so, like, with characters like these in mind, how do you balance bringing your own unique voice to the character whilst also voicing a new character or dubbing over them?
So dubbing is interesting because we do have the Japanese reference most of the time. You know, most of the time when you're dubbing, you're playing the line in Japanese, clocking it, and then you're doing your English take. And for me, I usually pull some sort of inspiration from the Japanese performance because they were cast for a reason and it's been animated already. So, like, what about this character is there that I should be pulling from, that I cannot change, first of all. And one of the things that struck me for Momo, why I think Shion Wakayama was cast as Momo, she's talked about this in an interview too. She wanted Momo to sound very organic, real, like a real person, like a real kid talking. And she does. She crushes it. And that is one of the things that when I first got the audition and I saw her first two scenes, the first two scenes that I saw for the audition, that was the immediate thought I had was, oh my God, she sounds like a real kid. Just not rehearsed, doesn't sound like she's doing a voice. She's just this person, Momo.
Why'd you fall for him anyway?
He looks like Ken Takakura.
Again. You're such a dork.
There's nothing weird about liking strong, silent types like Ken Takakura!
And I loved how I don't know how to say it, but like unpolished Momo sounds. And that's what I tried to achieve in my audition, while also capturing, so there were two scenes that we got to see. One of them was the scene with Okurun and Momo in the hallway where she's, kind of apologizing, but then he's like, I don't believe in ghosts. And then the other scene was when she's walking in the creepy old building where people get abducted. And she's telling Okurun about her backstory a little bit, about her childhood being bullied with her grandma. And those two moments really showed her character because, like, she can open up. She was opening up to him, like they just met, really just became friends. And she's opening up and being sincere. But then she can also explode and she will stand up for her opinion and she'll stand up for what she believes in. So all those things and the sense of just being unrehearsed is what I was trying to take from Shion Wakayama's performance, which is one of my favorite performances in any anime I've ever seen. And she also has there's like this tough girl kind of gyaru stereotype that Momo and her friends kind of have, this vibe that also I think is very well portrayed by Wakayama-san, and they that's a thing that's hard to translate to English because that is a Japanese thing, very much a Japanese cultural thing that we don't have in the United States of America. That was one of the things that our director really helped me find too. Alex Von David, phenomenal director. He recommended that I watch some movies that are of that genre, and they really helped just get Momo's attitude. And he's also really great at localizing that archetype into what we would, consider something similar in English.
Getting into video games, so you've voiced characters in Marvel Rivals, Persona 5, Lego Fortnite even. So what do you enjoy most about video game voice acting compared to voicing characters in anime?
Video games, sometimes like you get to kind of use your imagination a lot. And also with the help of a director who is guiding you and telling you how that specific line is going to play in the game and what context exists there. But you have to imagine the circumstances, and I like to try to, because you can fall into a thing where line, every line is the same way. We don't want that to happen, right? So the more specific little tweaks you can imagine to kind of spice up that dialogue, the more interesting I think they play in the game. So that's fun for me.
So we put out some promotion letting people know that we were going to be speaking with you, and we had received a number of responses, and I've selected 3 questions that people have asked, and I'm going to ask them for you. So at Miss Man 55 has said that I just started taking voice acting lessons, and I want to know what your golden nugget is for this particular scenario. What do you wish you'd known before you started being a voice actor?
Oh, that's a hard one. Acting is an important part of voice acting, obviously. And you don't have to do voices to do it. You can use your natural voice. And a lot of times you will be cast with your natural voice, which is what I learned later. I mean, it depends on the voice, but I think also you'll hear the note, like put the closest thing to your natural speaking voice on your demo first, and then do your character-y stuff. When I started, I was like, I gotta sound as different as possible from my voice, which is not true. So like, get comfortable with your natural voice, and it's something that you should feature at the top of your demo.
Jesse Pinnick VO asks, what is one subtle vocal or acting technique that you've developed over the years that you feel most voice actors overlook?
There are ways of yelling that are less hard on your voice, and I'm not a vocal therapist, so don't go trying this at home, kids. But there's a way to kind of open up your throat a little bit as opposed to constricting that is less damaging. Any yelling is going to damage your voice, but there's subtle ways of manipulating your throat and your vocal cords that make it a little less harsh and can spare you a bit of vocal damage that I have learned over the years. But definitely seek out a vocal coach for those things. See, there are workshops that you can take that are like how to scream and stuff like that. I'm sure they talk about it.
Last question. So the only LPK asks, what vocal exercises do you do?
I like to sing in the car. You'll hear this from a lot of people. If I am on my way to a job, I'll just be making noise in the car like a crazy person. But I like to do like lip trills, those really like open up my upper range. And what else? Sometimes I'll find a YouTube video of vocal warm-ups and sing along. There's some fun ones.
Nice. And all right, and then I got one more question. Do you have a favorite line of dialogue?
A favorite line of dialogue. Something PG. Okay, let's see. I'll quote one of my favorite bug snacks that I think is overlooked. So people who know the game Bug Snacks, it's a great game. They know me as Honeybee. That's one of the bug snacks, but I voice other ones too. And one of them is Ribblepede. And Ribblepede would say,
Ribblepede, Ribba, Ribblepede.
Awesome. Abby, thank you so much for coming on with me today, and I really appreciate all the insights that you've given, and I wish you every success going forward with your voice acting career.
thank you so much. It was great chatting with you.
Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then leave a like and a comment below, and subscribe if you want to see more voice actor interviews like this in the future. See ya!